What's going on, guys? Bottom tier collector here. Gonna play some Batman Arkham City for you guys. Hopefully you enjoy it while I talk about my latest think piece for Batman Day. Gonna give it to you guys at the midnight hour, because that's where Batman works anyways. Batman Syndrome, the latest think piece. Roll that beautiful bean footage.
Where were the other drugs going?
I never knew. I don't know. I swear to God.
Swear to me!
Alright, guys, first things first, just live with the gameplay. I got to a stop point where I had defeated Penguin, and I am now supposed to work with Mr. Freeze to track down Ra's al Ghul. And I'll be honest, I turned this game on after months, my PlayStation 3. Just a quick sidetrack here. My PlayStation 3 has been down. It was making a lot of noise, a lot of racket when I was inserting discs, and I was getting by, and finally the PlayStation 3, I guess, just finally had enough of my shenanigans, being lazy with the maintenance or whatever, and it finally quit taking CDs. So I took the disc apart, or the disc drive apart. Seemingly all I needed to do was disassemble the thing and work out the mechanism of the disc drive a little bit. I don't know, and then realign everything, put it back together, because that's really all I did. I don't have this awesome story where I was like a master technician with my PS3 and I fixed this incredibly rare problem with my PS3. None of that. I mean, it was just me disassembling, kind of toddling about, spending a few months feeling defeated about my PS3, having it disassembled for several months, and putting it back together within the last week or so. And that was awesome. That was incredible that my PlayStation 3 accepts disc again. There's no sound, there's no grinding noise from the gears anymore. So, been playing a lot of PS3 lately. And so that's why I'm doing this, the whole gameplay thing. I can't live stream. This is the closest thing I can do to a video game live stream. And I did my best to kind of center the TV in my camera to give it, like a live stream feel. But I'm just going to treat it like a podcast with video in the background, pretty much. Got a think piece that I've been mulling over for quite some time, because I feel like I can get a little deep with it, but I want to make sure I can articulate my thoughts on this, and I hope I can. I hope I end this video feeling like I fleshed out every single thought. Just forgive this gameplay, by the way. It's been so long, which is the point I was trying to get to before I sidetracked again. Just forgive the gameplay, guys. It's just me wandering around, not really knowing what I'm doing, forgetting how to play this game, and I didn't really get anywhere in the story in this gameplay. Spoiler alert. I don't really get very far in the game. It's just me kind of doing a GTA-esque roam around, like free roam gameplay for like an hour. And I don't know if I'll go for an hour, but I captured an hour of footage for you guys just to make sure I have enough footage to last this whole episode. So it is Batman Day, of course, and I'm giving it to you guys in the midnight hour. Technically, it's not Batman Day anymore, but Batman operates at night, so technically it's appropriate to still call September 17th at 1 a.m. in the morning, Central Time, Batman Day. because Batman is out in Gotham City, operating as I speak. I feel like Batman's been with me my whole life. My earliest memories of Batman are the Batman animated series, which I never appreciated as a kid. It was too, I don't want to say too dark, but it was dark enough that I didn't want to go there. I wasn't exposed to the horror genre or a lot of dramas. Or, I liked my cartoons to be things like Dexter's Laboratory, Hey Arnold, very lighthearted, generic, like everyday man cartoons. And Bruce Timm's Batman the Animated Series is very niche, very dark, and it's a lot to take in for a little kid. So I never really appreciated that cartoon as a kid. However, I did appreciate the Scooby-Doo Justice League or Batman Scooby-Doo team-ups. I remember watching that when Cartoon Network would still mostly play reruns of the Hanna-Barbera titles WB owned. And so I have fond memories of those goofy Batman Scooby-Doo team-ups. And then in my early teens, we're talking 13, 14 years old, I would stay up till midnight to watch different things on Cartoon Network. Cartoons used to be really cool for older kids on TV. And Batman the Animated Series would come on late at night. And I wasn't necessarily concerned, and I'm still not concerned with watching episodes in order. I was just having a good time, breaking out snacks, fixing me a fourth meal, a little sandwich or something, and watching me some Batman Animated Series at like this time of night. It was good times for, 13, 14-year-old. And that's where I feel like I learned to appreciate and respect Batman. But I still never, still not reading comics at this point in my life. Still not, I'm not buying Batman merch. It's just kind of my secret guilty pleasure thing I do alone at night. And I feel like Batman Begins is where the fandom really took hold. I liked Bruce Timm's Batman the Animated Series. I owe a lot of my journey with Batman to that cartoon, as do a lot of fans. But it just never stuck with me. I have vague memories of the Taco Bell Batman Forever collaboration, back when movies were made to sell toys. I remember, I don't know if I went to the movie theaters, but I just remember Batman and Robin and Batman Forever being advertised and at least wanting to go see them. Don't know if I ever did. I doubt it. If things were deemed too angry and violent, I was not allowed to go see that kind of stuff. So yeah, I really owe it to Batman Begins, and I never saw Batman Begins in theater. I was still sleeping on Batman when that show or that movie started. Excuse me, guys. It is late. I'm going to try to use my words correctly. When that movie released in theaters, I did not go to the theaters to see Batman. I was sleeping on it. I believe I caught a television release somewhere, somehow. And I was just captivated by it. I was like, this is a whole new take on Batman. It's a whole new take on superheroes. Like, I am down with this. It's dark, it's gritty, it's mature. But it's not too violent, too angry, too bloody. And then I went to the theaters to see Batman the Dark Knight with a buddy. For whatever reason, we've fallen out over the years. He doesn't live close, so that's part of the problem. But I remember seeing Batman: The Dark Knight with a former very best friend of mine, and coming out of the theaters and thinking it's the greatest movie of all time, which today is sacrilege. It's a three-way tie for me. My number one favorite movie is a three-way tie between Monty Python and the Holy Grail, Rocky 1. Yes, the boxing Rocky movie. I think it's a masterpiece. And the sequel to The Dark Knight, The Dark Knight Returns. I love that movie. I can still watch it to this day and be on the edge of my seat with that M. Night Shyamalan. I know he's not the director. Christopher Nolan is. It's just how I talk. The M. Night Shyamalan-esque, like a double quadruple plot twist. I watched The Dark Knight Returns within the last 3 years, because I was toying with a podcast versus a YouTube channel, because I'd already done it before. And I was on the edge of my seat, and I had forgotten the double quadruple plot twist, as I call it. And I was just like, man, such a good era in comic book movie history. I've seen I've seen 95% of the MCU. Definitely everything in I've definitely seen everything up to Endgame. I've seen most of Phase 4. I think I'm lacking on Wakanda Forever, The Marvels, which I probably won't see. I'm just not excited about that movie. And I haven't seen Guardians of the Galaxy 3 yet. We were in the movie theaters and only made it 10 minutes in. As soon as Rocket Raccoon was split open, it was too scary for my 5-year-old son, bless his heart. Things like that should scare him. If he was numb to things like that, I'd be a little worried. But yeah, it was too scary for him. We had to leave. So I need to see Guardians of the Galaxy 3. But yeah, saying this about Marvel to say that nothing, in my opinion, compares to the Nolan trilogy. It is the gold standard and may always be the gold standard for comic book movies, in my humble opinion. They're just all incredible. The Dark Knight's a little worn out, I was big into the metal scene when The Dark Knight came out, and there were several bands, not local bands, but regional metal bands that would come through. For those of you that are familiar with the term breakdown, the jump cut right before their breakdown would be the Why So Serious. I remember one band did that, and the crowd went nuts. I mean, it's just so overplayed. That movie is such embedded in pop culture. You still see, I think The Dark Knight is 11 years old now, and you still see the occasional Dark Knight Joker cosplay at conventions, So, its impact and its legacy and it being a good movie, that is no debate here. But I got tired of The Dark Knight. We still hear about, I still see clickbait articles about Heath Ledger and his death. You still occasionally hear about it. You still occasionally hear people talk about Heath Ledger. So, it's 11 years later. But yeah, I just don't watch The Dark Knight a lot because I've seen it a handful of times and I don't need to see it anymore because I just beaten over the head with that movie for 11 years and I need to watch something else. I need to move on. And then we come to now where I've developed this random appreciation for Adam West. And I don't know where it's come from. I don't know if I just tried to get myself into Adam West's Batman just because it's so bad. And I wanted to be an ironic person about it. Or what. I don't know how that fandom for Adam West's Batman came about. But I love Adam West Batman. Yes, I like the super plastic shark hanging off his ankle in the movie as he's punching a shark. It's great stuff. You know, it takes a Tom and Jerry style bomb and he spends like half an hour real time trying to dump the bomb off. It's great hilarity, and it's come out in, you know, it's come out now to the public that the director was trying to make Batman that campy, that silly, that funny, and it worked in my opinion. I love it. I love watching that, and I believe it's a bootleg, judging by the DVD cover. It's very, very homemade. I have either an official complete collection of the Adam West show on DVD or it's a bootleg version of the collection. Either way, I own physical copies of the entire Adam West show, and it's really cool. I get into them occasionally and have a great time with it. So those are some things I just wanted to say about Batman and kind of my journey with Batman, where I'm at with Batman. I don't like comic book Batman, and I haven't liked comic book Batman since the Batman Volume 2 issue 20. 20 is good, is a good issue, but then and this is the Snyder Capullo run. I don't know how to say his last name. The Snyder Capullo run from 2013, 2012, 2013. And it's really good. The first 20 issues are incredible. I even bought a hardback. I had issue 1, like the cheap 95th print or whatever it was, for pennies on the dollar, but then I wanted to upgrade it to a first print because it was just in my head at the time, and we're talking 2013, 2014. But it was in my head at the time. I was thinking wrong. I wasn't thinking completely like I think now about comic books and the hobby. At this time, I was thinking about how valuable it is. I was thinking this is only the second Batman #1 in the history of comic books. Like, this is very significant, and I shelled out $50 for the Batman 1 gold print, and it ain't even worth $15 right now on the market. I'm not going to say it's sad to see. I think a lot of the market is overinflated. We need to see these prices come down a little bit. You know, I know a lot of you guys that are sitting on books you're trying to sell are aggravated at prices come down, but they do. Prices need to come down big time. I don't know why I'm on economics at this point, but yeah. Let's move on to the think piece. Guys, it goes without saying, but I'll say it again just in case there's new viewers watching. Think pieces are not intended to be a serious thing. They're not intended for me to show you how wrong you are. Think pieces are just a way for me, because I like to think. I'm an overthinker big time. I like to mull over thoughts. I like to form theories and opinions. Yes, those kinds of theories. If you're thinking about conspiracy theories, I love a good conspiracy theory, but the think pieces are just that help me express those thoughts and those opinions, and then I will try to test them out, their opposing points of views, because that's how you think critically, and that is ever so important, the skill of critical thinking. And then I will reach out to you guys, the crowd, the audience, which, by the way, thank you for listening to this, for your opinions and your points of views, etc. And I support your First Amendment. So if you want to go all stage 10 rager on me and just tear down my video and say I don't know what I'm talking about, that's just great. I welcome that. And I will still acknowledge you. And I hope you find happiness. I hope you find whatever it is that you need to find that will calm you down. And hopefully, it's Batman. I'm trying not to cough all over the podcast, so you'll have to excuse me for any weird noises I might be making. So the think piece. I'm calling it Batman Syndrome. So I feel like this behavior, this philosophy, this moral code Batman follows is the same type of moral code that several other quote unquote good guys are following. It is my opinion that Batman is not a good guy. Batman is a villain. He's a harborer of evil. He stands on his pulpit and talks about how compassion is what separates the good guys from the bad guys. Talks about how giving life makes you more powerful than giving death. And so I think Batman is flawed in this opinion and the way he operates. That everyone is due fair trial, everyone is due a chance to turn it around, and a chance at life. And why I think this is flawed, now let's suspend our belief, right? Our disbelief. Suspend our disbelief. Let's not get into these meta arguments. At least I'm not going to get into these meta arguments because it's obvious. There's no reason to point out the obvious in a think piece. I know the characters used in a Batman story are used because they sell comic books and make DC money. I know this. There's no reason to have to argue this. I'm not that stupid. Not that naive would be a more accurate way to say it. But within the context of the story and the character, I feel like Batman harbors evil because why? He's not willing to do what's necessary. You're not ever truly stopping crime if you are not doing what it takes to stop crime. And Batman is not willing to murder. I don't know why Batman refuses to murder. He outright refuses to put an end to certain villains' lives. I could not imagine a situation in real life where someone like the Joker, if someone like the Joker actually exists. In New 52, Joker was savage. Joker, the skin of his face, I believe, fell off. I never found the material that covers that arc, how that happens. His face, the skin falling off. But then he turns around and sews that skin back onto his face, but it's not done with precision. It's not done with the intent that it will heal correctly. It is stretched and sewn on like you'd put a patch over a hole in a blue jean. Pretty savage imagery, pretty savage take on the character. I just could not imagine a situation where someone like that does that to their own skin and wears it, that does the things he's done to teenagers like Jason Todd and Barbara Gordon. It almost feels like Batman is taking Joker's side when he does it in his life. And because I just cannot imagine a situation in real life where if a character like that was walking around the streets that the police wouldn't just put a bullet in his head. I think sometimes, not all the time, and I don't want to get too political, however, for those of you who aren't into the politics in your comics, Batman is very, very political, even though he tries to pretend not to be. Batman tries to be this some great agnostic that doesn't have all the answers, that supports your right to decide what you're going to do. And I don't mean current comic book take on Batman, whatever's canon at the moment. I'm just talking about the general idea of Batman and what he is and who he is and what he does. It's just insane to me, Einstein's definition of madness is trying the same thing over and over and over in expecting different results. Batman tries the same thing over and over and over with the likes of Joker, with the likes of Bane, with the likes of Mr. Freeze, with the likes of... I haven't seen Hugo Strange in a while, but we'll throw Hugo Strange in there. Mr. Pig, all of them. Some of the most grotesque members of society. People that need to be put to rest. And what I mean by rest is killed off. People that have lost their humanity. Have lost their right to have a normal life. And Batman won't do nothing with them. There's one of the all-time great Batman stories, I believe, is how he breaks out of prison and goes and destroys the life of someone very near and dear to Batman. Barbara Gordon turns her into the Oracle. And yet Batman still operates this way about civility and morality and treating your neighbor as yourself. I just don't think some of this is applicable in every situation. And these characters, when he locks them up, because let's say 98% of the time, Batman solves the puzzle and puts his man in prison. But there's another, and I'm not going to do Scott Steiner math. It's very late. But there's another whole... I don't even know where I'm going. I brain farted here talking about Scott Steiner, guys. Oh, goodness. Let me see here. I don't want to end the podcast here on a dead note. So let's just backtrack here a little bit. Just bear with me, guys. So, Batman's just doing the same things over and over and over with his rogues gallery, his villains. And again, I've acknowledged the meta aspect of this. It's obvious that stories with these characters sell and make money. I already know this. But if you just think about it in the context of the story, in the context of the character, Batman is a villain. He's not truly saving Gotham. He's not truly stopping crime. He's not a crime stopper in the slightest. My favorite character of all time, Lobo, a character that has literally destroyed his entire race just so he could be the only one of his kind left. He does more to rid the universe of crime than Batman does. Not only is he not stopping the Joker, but the Joker then recruited Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn branched off and is now with Poison Ivy. Well, Joker is still recruiting. He still recruited Punchline. Now, Punchline is giving Batman fits. And now, instead of the Joker and Poison Ivy, we've now got the Joker, Harley Quinn, and Punchline, and Poison Ivy fighting against Batman. It's insane that he won't break. Batman cannot be a sane human being operating the way he operates. They never talk about the damage these villains do to Gotham City in a lot of their stories. I think if they would touch on the amount of lives that have been lost, because he's just one man and he cannot prevent crime as it's happening. No one can. You know, I cannot believe he doesn't lose sleep over this. How do you take down criminals who have possibly murdered people and feel like you're doing the right thing or you're being effective? Because he's not effective at all. That man's over 100 years old and we're still getting crime in the city of Gotham. I mean, you tell me if that sounds effective. It don't sound effective to me at all. Now, one could argue on the other side of the coin about how we need morality. If without morality, this world would be a chaotic, moralist. Obviously, there's not any morals, so you would be moralist. Duh. I'm saying duh to myself. Don't take offense. But, yeah. I'm brain farting again, guys. You just have to bear with me. I'm going to get through it. The morality. Right. Coming back to it. The morality. The fact that murdering someone, taking a life, is considered a very bad moral decision, and Batman stands by that. You could argue, and this is where I'm going, I'm coming back to where I left off before I brain farted. You could argue that we need morals in society so that society can self-govern itself. Because when you have a self-governing people, you have peace. You have, I don't want to say prosperity, but you have peace. You don't have as much crime. You don't have as much violence. You don't have as much evil. Because the people are self-governing. And they do that with morality. The ability to be aware of what's right and wrong. Not everyone agrees on what's a right life decision or what's a bad life decision, but you still need morality. And so in context of Batman, maybe he's not wrong about his philosophy about he's just another criminal if he commits murder. If he murders people. But I just can't. You know, as we're watching, you're watching the gameplay. If you're watching the gameplay, I cannot imagine Batman knocking out all these thugs and being okay with the fact that they're probably going to get back up and go murder, maim, and do whatever in Gotham City. They're not going to be changed. You know, their heart is not going to melt away and breathe new life. They're not going to be born again through the right fist of Batman. And some of these people will never change. What's that famous quote in The Dark Knight? Some people just want to watch the world burn, and those people need to be put down for good. And Batman, not only does Batman not do this, not only does he not take out evil, he refuses to take it out. Because he thinks he's going to be evil himself if he's a murderer. And to an extent, again, he's not wrong. But to another extent, people are dying and people need to be taken care of. And he's decided he's going to put on the cowl and the cape and save Gotham. And it's just this endless cycle of putting these villains in Arkham Asylum, them breaking out, Batman capturing them, Batman playing their games with them. And it never ends. And so that is my theory on why Batman is a villain. It's not about killing every single villain. It's about stopping real, true evil. And Batman definitely faces some really, truly evil people. And he doesn't do anything about it. In a sense. He knows. You cannot tell me Batman doesn't know these villains are gonna break out of Arkham. He knows. He knows it's an endless cycle. And yet he dances and plays the game. He's insane. There's no way he can be in his right mind to do this kind of stuff. You could also argue that some people are never going to change, but we still need that morality. You know, even though these villains may never change, you can still change and affect the city by putting them away for good. Some people can argue that, and maybe they're not wrong. I think that's all I got, guys. I'd also like to say, we talked about Batman, iterations of Batman that I love, and here's an iteration of Batman I don't love, saving it for the very end. Comic book Batman. And I don't mean the entire reading history of Batman. I mean specifically within the last 20, 30, 35 years. Batman's just become a dick of a character. And he does these stupid things. So, I was reading Justice League Last Ride 2 years ago, I believe. And Batman says that he can control his dreams and can run for days on it's either 7 seconds or 7 minutes of sleep. And it just, Batman is so broken, yet we still have people that act like he's the member of the Justice League without superpowers. And that has most definitely become Molly, not Batman. What do you think, guys? Is Batman a villain? I think he's a villain. It's really late, guys. I think I'm losing my train of thought, my concentration. But I'm going to put this out anyways. I'm not going to do another recording. It's just 38 minutes and counting is just a lot of time for talking. Oh, I remember my point. I'll get to what I was trying to talk about. And then we'll close out. So, I don't like comic book Batman because I was reading Justice League Last Ride. And he was talking about the dreams. And it's just so pompous and overbearing. And he's supposed to be the human without superpowers. And he's not that anymore. I mean, the guy's freaking sat in Metron's chair and learned the secrets of Joker, his origins, who I'm not totally sure the reader has still been made aware of the origins, although I didn't read Three Jokers. So Batman has experienced godlike powers before. he dodged the Omega beams, and I don't even think Superman has ever done that. There was an issue in the New 52 Lobo arc where Superman and Lobo are fighting. And Superman comes, I don't remember the character's name, but Superman and Batman come to this character that has such great telepathy and mind abilities that it could kill them or eternally warp their brainwash them essentially. And Batman told Superman, the superpowered alien that runs off the power of the sun, that can't be destroyed as long as the sun and kryptonite, as long as the sun is yellow and the kryptonite is far away, Superman can become all powerful. I'm losing my train of thought, guys. I think that's my hint. Batman has experienced superpowers before. He's not the everyday man, the blue collar superhero with no powers. I think he's a villain. I think that he needs to be stopped. I think he's worse, especially when villains have told Batman they're inspired by Batman. Joker loves to do this. I'm inspired by you. Joker could be one of the worst villains Batman's ever had. But there's going to be a lot of missed opportunities that Batman needs to clean up. I don't know. I'm rambling, guys. I'm like zoning in and out of consciousness. I'm going to get some rest, guys. It's almost 2 o'clock in the morning. Just closing comments here. Morality is important for sure. You need to be selective when it comes to necessary evil, taking out evil. Don't need to be like the Punisher, in my opinion, just taking everybody out. But at the same time, when these characters are constantly thrown in Arkham Asylum only to break out and wreak more havoc and do God knows what to the citizens of Gotham, it makes me wonder, does Batman know what he's doing? Does Batman really care? And is Batman a villain? Alright guys, thanks for watching. Shout out to all of you guys that got nominated here recently for a CBC award. I was nominated, although I did not make it as a finalist, which is fair enough. I don't even care about being a finalist. I know my schedule's crap, and I'm just keeping them chugging when I can. I mean, I'm sitting here 2 o'clock in the morning making an incoherent podcast episode that I hope someone enjoyed. Hearing me zone in and out of consciousness, talking about whatever, getting off track, losing my train of thought. Hope someone enjoyed this episode. Don't take it personal. You know, I do not mind if Batman is your favorite character. It's comic book, guys. It's Batman. It's all fiction. Just have fun with it. Okay? My favorite character of all time killed his entire race just to be the last person alive of his race. So, just take me with a grain of salt when it comes to this conversation. And for those of you who like to be loud and proud about no politics in your comics, just consider Batman and how very, very political he is without even trying to be. Alright guys, Don't know when I'll put out the next video, but I'll see you then. Take care.